boy just snored himself out of house and home.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Chatter Squadron Fun and Villainy. My name is Tyler Buck, sat across from Mike Calhoun and Johnny Trowbridge. As always, we're your weekly dose of Star Wars fun and positivity. We're talking about snoring, boys. Good old.
I am continually impressed with that mouthful that you are able to get out in one breath.
He practices at night in the mirror.
He added a few things, too. Well,
Follow
a
us on
snory
Facebook.
good day to you, sir, and a snory good day to you, sir.
Top of the snore.
Top of the snores.
I can't.
No one even gets with the. We don't even know where this came from.
No, we did not have a snory Christmas.
I have. I've been sleeping a ton over this break.
Oh, man.
We're back from the break. I mean, I don't know if there's a disparity between the weekly news roundup listeners and the fun and villainy listeners. I hope you all listen to both shows. But we're back from break, and if you didn't listen to Fun and Villainy on New Year's Day or weekly news roundup, welcome.
Yeah, and if
the
you
new
did,
year.
I hope everybody also listened to the re-release of our holiday special episode. I feel like we need to do that every Christmas in order for it to make it worth it.
When I was reposting it, I listened to it myself, and boy, is it a hoot.
It is
A
quite
hoot and a holler.
Yeah,
Hoot and holla and a half.
I giggled at my own recollection of that movie.
Oh, did you?
Isn't that just fine and dandy?
Well, because it is one heck of an interesting movie.
What made me laugh was, and you guys should go back and listen to that one too, was our little like whatevers of that kid.
Where we were like imagining
Lumpy or
what Lumpy
itchy.
was.
But this is how he was all the time. Like
His eyes were so terrifying.
Hey guys, we're here. We're doing this episode. We're covering Star Wars across the world, what it looks like to them, what it sounds like to them, and a couple things in between. Here's the thing about Star Wars: it's a global phenomenon.
What?
Yeah,
I don't think so.
I think it's
Yeah.
U.S.
I thought it was only allowed to be in Orlando, Florida, and California.
USA.
USA.
Oh boy. It's
You're outnumbered.
It's a global
outvoted.
phenomenon. It's all over the world. Some countries not as much as others, but a lot of countries perceive it, watch it, view it differently. And I kind of wanted to cover that today because some of it is a little comical as to what has to happen in order for them to want to see it.
Yes, it's interesting trying to please different markets, especially different countries with different cultures. And Star Wars is very rooted in American culture, Western culture, I would say. And so it is super interesting to see things especially from the Soviet era when it was released. And
Yeah.
we'll get really into that. For our visual watchers on the video of this episode, we'll have the posters, the movie posters that we're going to be talking about shown up on screen. But if you're listening to the podcast, we'll describe it.
Yeah, we'll describe it.
And you can always look it up yourself.
And also, it'll
It's
be
going to be on the social media.
I'll put it on our social medias and everything. But that's later in the show. We're going to talk about the posters from the different worlds. Oh my gosh. From the different countries.
We're really Star Warsing it up. We
very-
don't have countries here. We have worlds.
Worlds.
With different biomes.
world.
Welcome to Russia world.
You go to the woods between worlds and jump into the pools to go to the different worlds.
The Russian planet in Star Wars, everything would be dome-shaped.
Yep.
And everything would be bears.
And very snowy.
It would be snowy.
Or Snorri. So here's
Snorri
kind of
bears.
kicks us into what we're kind of talking about today. Small thing when it comes to translations. Small things. I can't really sing. I'm still sick.
You did a pretty good job.
2 days after.
2 days.
Oh boy.
Small things.
Okay, so Dooku and Sifo Dyas, their names. We're going to still keep this clean. But Dooku was based on the Japanese word doku, which means poison. In the Galician and Portuguese languages, Dooku, pronounced exactly as Dooku, means from the butt or of the butt or I do butt stuff. For this reason, Dooku's name was changed to Dukan.
Galatian and Portuguese had weird butt stuff translations. That is so interesting.
I like count from the butt.
I am the count from the butt.
Man, yeah, I would want to kill him too.
Oh man, we gotta kill
Get
that
rid of
guy.
that guy first. If you're in the theater, whoa, get rid of that
All
guy.
ships fire upon that man.
We should have known he would betray the Jedi Order.
He's
Freaking
the count
from the butt.
Count Dooku betrayed us? The count of the butt?
Speaking of one of his accomplices, same goes for Jedi Master Sifo Dyas in Episode 2. His name is pronounced Sifo Dyas, which means F's himself in Brazil.
Are
so
you
they changed it
serious?
to Zifo Yayas.
Sifu Gias. Oh, well, I'm sorry to our Brazilian and Portuguese listeners. I
Seriously.
just cursed at you.
Right.
But I was reading out the pronunciation, and that is bizarre.
I will say, though, good on them for catching this stuff and not just throwing movies out there in the middle of nowhere where people are like, what is this count from the butt, dude?
Good on George for coming up with names.
Speaking of George, did you guys stumble upon the information that I stumbled upon when looking up this specific translation problem? Sifo Dyas was originally going to be Sidi Diaz.
Oh, gosh.
And it was supposed to be it was going to be Sidious, an acronym for Sidious.
Oh, my gosh.
And it was going to be his alter ego. But then when someone mistyped it on a script,
Yeah.
he's like, oh, well, that might work better. And so it changed. It changed the course of how the story was going to go. So
Well-
instead of posing as an unknown person, Sifo Dyas, he was posing as someone completely, someone that didn't exist, named Sid Diaz. Isn't that terrible?
That's awful.
It's much worse.
Let's move on. Johnny,
somehow,
French
it
translation.
was made better than
Sifo
Because
Dyas.
of a typo. Yeah.
Sifo Dyas is a great name.
I actually
love
disagree
Sifo Dyas.
because it sounds like siphoning something, and I think that's gross.
Yeah.
Johnny, would you like to? Johnny is upset.
I'm with Johnny on this one. Who's on it with me?
We're both with each other.
Yeah,
I didn't
we
know
agree
that.
with each other.
How long have you guys been together?
3 days.
3 days. It started during break.
Oh wow, Johnny, would you like to cover?
It's not a summer fling, Tyler.
We had a whole show together for a while. We've
Oh,
built-
you guys did have a show together.
All right.
Read the French translation, Johnny. My transitions.
So for Darth Vader, it is Dark Vador.
Can I just say that you're doing this very well? I just want to say that.
You know,
Passionately.
it helps to have.
It doesn't sound like you're reading from my computer. It sounds like you know these and wanted to share them.
All right, I'm going to approach it from a completely different angle then.
No, I liked the way you were doing it, but you know what? You're my friend, and I want you to do what you want.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I feel like
First of all, thank you.
I feel like I'm the third wheel on this relationship's fighting right now.
I'm going to say one thing, and I'm going to say Snorri, not Snorri. Moving on.
Yeah, where's that French twang?
Twang.
Oh, yeah, give us that nice south of French twang.
South of
France twang. I'm gonna shut up now.
That's
nice-
the type of dressing south of French.
South of French. Can I have that French dressing?
I want the south of French dressing. It's just what's on the bottom of the bottle.
It's like you mix the two gross ends of ranch and French dressing together.
Hey, have you been to Outback Steakhouse? They have that new French dressing for their salads.
No, it's like a Pizza Hut dressing.
All right, so give it Pizza Hut.
Carbonated French dressing as a drink.
All right, Johnny, give it that French twang.
All right. So for Han Solo, their H's are not really pronounced in French. I mean, there's some instances where they can be, but since they're typically not, like it's helicopter instead of helicopter, they went with a Y, so it's Yan Solo.
Almost like Yabba.
Yan Solo. Is how they would probably say it.
Yan.
Chewbacca. Same kind of thing. They did Chick-Taba, which doesn't sound anything like it. I don't know why.
I was trying to make those connections too. I was like, why do you think they made
It sounds like
I
a
really
sushi roll. I'll have the Chick-Taba.
The only thing I can think of is maybe it sounds like other words because "oo" is used a lot. Maybe it's
Ooh is used, so maybe it was kind of gross sounding. Chewbacca.
yeah.
Come with me, Chewbacca.
Chick-Taba. Yeah, because maybe it's confused with another word. That I don't know. The shortened version, instead of Chewy, they went with Chico or
Chico.
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 Un Chico.
I
Which
think
is-
it's just when you say the U sound in French, it's so mushy. So maybe Chewy, hand me that tool, Chewy.
Chico. Chico-Taba.
Chico, hand me the tool.
But the only problem, I know that in French they do convert a lot of stuff. Like this stuff happens a lot. Like other languages might tend to just be like, all right, whatever. We'll just pronounce it in the way in the English. That's why you'll hear like, maybe for instance in Arabic, you'll hear someone do a beautiful like sentence in Arabic, and they'll be like, and at the end of it, they'll be like, New York City, you know,
Yes.
or something like that. French, they like, no, our language is the best language, and so they like convert everything. Like,
I love listening to foreign announcers for soccer games because they'd be like, "I look on Michael Bradley."
yeah.
What about the Millennium Falcon?
The Millennium Falcon is called Le Millennium Condor because I don't think they have falcons there. They have condors. I mean, they might have falcon.
Le Millennium
We've
Falcon.
named things after things that aren't in North America.
That's true. I don't know why they did that. They're both birds.
I mean, a condor is a beautiful name for a bird.
Condor.
So I can understand.
They're not
Maybe it's
very
easier
beautiful.
pronounced than falcon.
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 Falcon. Yeah, you're right.
Condor.
Condor.
The droid names are what is weirdest to me.
C3PO is Z6PO. I think that's because if you're pronouncing six, it'd be six. So on du toit.
Kind of sounds a little bit closer
so
to three.
Z6, it'd be Z6 if you pronounce the.
Z-C-S-P-L?
Do you think they would say
ZZ.
P and O, or would they say something else?
Pe, I think it's Pe and
Peo.
O, but so
ZZ-Bill.
Z6PO.
You know, that works. That works for me.
Z6PO. That works. You know what?
But R2D2 being reversed.
Yeah, they just reversed.
They do
D2R2.
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 Maybe it's so they didn't have to reduce it to R2 every time. It'd just be D2 instead of because
yeah.
because we just call R2
R2.
ARTOO many times.
Yeah.
That's
and
true.
since R's are not difficult, they're just like they're odd.
Well, actually, there is a American pronunciation of the word R that only Americans pronounce.
Like French.
Like it's like a ready to rumble, like that.
Let's
that kind
get
of
ready.
So like
Roar.
R, where we say how we say R
Yeah.
is very unique to Americans. So maybe they reversed it for that sake. I don't know.
And especially for Northeast Ohio.
D2R2.
Apparently, we have like a very great pronunciation of the English language, but one of the biggest thing is our R's, like Akron.
Akron.
Well, they say that we have a
Akron.
good one. It just means that we have very few like idilects. So I don't
Right.
know if that's.
But that's one of them. Is our vowels are weird and our ers are a little weird.
Yeah, we tend to I forget what it's called, but we make all of our vowels sound the same.
Now Alderaan.
do we? Huh. Interesting.
Yeah, like say for instance, my wife's name Megan. Use any vowel instead of a at the end, and it'll
Megan.
sound the same.
Megan.
Wow, that's bizarre.
Isn't that
We
weird?
kind of mumble through our vowels.
We make
like
it all.
Alderaan.
It's secondary vowels. As if
Fascinating.
if you replace the e and it's different, so you'd be Morgan. But if you
Right.
put it at the secondary, it's
Fascinating.
for-
certain consonants.
The next one that you're going to talk about is Alderaan, but the same thing. Alderaan.
Alderaan.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow. I mean, maybe except for I-N, Alderin, but then you'd really have to ask someone how it's pronounced because you could still have the on sound with an I.
which I am
Crazy.
very much caught in that, and it makes it hard for me to spell things from when I'm saying it as to what vowel goes where.
Yeah, it's hard because everything sounds the same.
Right.
But it's all context, which is fine.
So
but
Alderaan is not that different, but it's
they changed it a little bit. It's Alderaan would be how you say that. So Alderaan.
and I like the Death Star's name.
Alderaan. Yes, the Death Star they changed to L'Étoile Noire, which means the Black Star.
That's pretty scary
I
and
think
ominous.
I think it's scarier than the Death Star because the Death Star to me sounds kind of
Sci-fi.
sci-fi.
Always thought
Black
so.
Star sounds ominous
Mm-hmm.
and like almost otherworldly. I
Yeah.
kind of like that. Tarkin because the I is like very American.
Yeah,
So they went Tarkan.
talking.
So they went. They wouldn't say A like I just said. They'd be like Tarkan. It would probably be how they say the on for the A. Jabba the Hutt. They went with Jabba le Foreste, which does that mean forest or is what they're saying there?
Wow.
Weird. That doesn't really make any sense.
Yeah,
So maybe hut was a literal
Jabba.
translation.
Jabba, well, they can't pronounce the H, so it'd be Jabba le Oot, which
That's kind of funny.
I mean it's funny.
He looks like an oot.
Jabba le Oot.
They speak ooties.
That sounds
Yeah,
like you're
Ooties, yeah.
you're asking to go to the bathroom or something like Jabba la Oot.
Jabba le Oot.
You know what I mean? Like
It's the first
a nice-
phrase you learn in French to go to the bathroom. Jabba le oot.
and then Bantha.
Yeah, this is a weird one because I'm not sure how they pronounce this because I know I can't think of a ton of examples of th sounds in French.
Okay.
It's more of a English thing. So like Bantha, they went with Banthos, but I'm not sure how they would pronounce it. Like I went to ride on the Banthos.
Or would it be like a Bantho?
Bantho.
Bantho.
They might not pronounce the S. Bantho. I don't know. I'm not sure why they would change that. Maybe just to get away from that A again.
I feel like it might have been something along the lines of people just reading through the script
Yeah.
and finding that this is a harder thing to say, and then they just change it. Darth Vader is probably the most interesting one to me that they changed
Darth
it to
Vader.
Darth Vader.
It's probably because French will they have like a department who's of the government that is in charge of the French language, and they go through and find like foreign words that are being introduced into French, and they'll like rearrange them. They'll come up with new words, or they'll rearrange the word so it flows better with their language. So like if you would use it with a certain like article, like le or like le, often, or maybe with a certain vowel a lot, they'll make sure it doesn't have repeating sounds like or staccato sounds or stuff like that. There's a bunch of like they discuss this stuff endlessly over there. Like
Wow.
they changed the word party because they didn't like the word party, which is already a French word, which means to leave. So the English word to party was confusing, so they came up with la boum, which is the French word for party.
La boom.
But
Wow.
but yeah, so and that was just created. They just made up that word.
That's super fascinating. So do you think they have to change things because they have so many, not just English, but other words being introduced into their regular speech?
Oh yeah, all the time.
Wow. Well, they are pretty multicultural. They have been, and they have a lot
Yes.
of
A lot of
immigration.
colonialism going on.
well, they have a lot of people immigrating to France
Yes.
as well from their various former colonies.
Yes. Yes, let's be upfront about that.
So we have prepared for you, the listener, some readings, some dramatic readings of some Mandarin to Chinese translations, or excuse me, Mandarin to English translations that people did. Now, funny enough, we'll do one, and then I'll explain what I looked for afterwards. But I'm going to read to you guys the New Hope opening crawl that was translated for the subtitles in Mandarin. Okay, cool. And then back, of course. So let's get some mood music going here.
This was for the New Hope.
This is for A New Hope.
Oh,
Let's get into it. Star War, the fourth gathers. The novelty desire. The civilization having period of war. Treachery spacecraft from the secretive house. Hit the first fight against the Milky Way Emperor Evil. Rebel army spy management during the war. Steal the Empire Death Star final the weapon. Is the clothing station wagon sufficient to eat All-Star? Princess Lee is the Black Imperial agent. Pursue the ship, the janitor of the robbery design. Kill her people, the Milky Way recovery is the.
woo!
Thank
Yes!
you very much.
Got a little dodgies in there.
Well, fortunately, we have plenty of blaster bolts to
Yeah.
censor ourselves as needed.
Dude, that's pretty good.
It really is.
I knew exactly what it was about.
Like, I feel prepared
did
to.
not.
I can't wait to watch the rest of the movie now. But that was just actually provided to us by people that were inspired by this next thing we're about to read,
Yeah.
which is a literal dubbing. You can find this on YouTube. A dubbing of Revenge of the Sith that was translated first to Chinese and then back to English with a robot.
So,
And it is hilarious.
starring in this reading is
Do we want to do the return of the
yes,
opera
the
scene?
opera scene.
Okay, cool.
I will now announce it. Starring in this little production is Johnny Trowbridge returning as Sheev Palpatine and Michael Calhoun as
Sorry.
Anakin Skywalker.
I'm doing some vocal warm-ups.
This is
Oh yeah, dude.
This is the opera scene. You might want to have it a little bit louder.
I'm gonna get a little bit of music going.
This is the opera scene from Return. Or, sorry, this is the opera scene from Revenge of the Sith.
Did you heard of the tragedy that reached the man?
Not.
I think to be it too is not. I think that the hopeless situation elder also can't. That is a legend. Reaching the man cloth space is the emperor. He is so strong and big. He even can use the original dint to create life. He is very deep to black influence understanding.
In fact, he can come back from the brink of death.
The black influence can the matter that many supermans, but not other people, thinks that these are what Kant attains.
The black influence, how'd is afterwards.
He become more and more strong and big.
Lost his power.
Afterwards, he died.
In fact, he teaches his own old skills all to discipline. Then his land killed him to let him go into bed.
Summarizing the meaning is he can let other people,
But is escapable, for dint is to oneself.
I can be then academic association this kind of magic.
Did not do the hopeless situation, Elder Karen.
Yes. That is excellent. Oh man. All right, cool.
You're right. You can like tell kinda what they're talking
Yeah,
about.
like the dint and gold. Oh, we haven't gotten to that part
Oh,
yet.
that's best.
So I watched about 30 minutes of the movie with the dub, and I'm sad that we didn't pick out any of Obi-Wan's scenes because Obi-Wan has some real goofy things to say sometimes.
I feel like we can return to this at some point.
Like some of them are really good. Like anytime someone is in a flying anything and there's someone behind them,
Oh,
the
yeah.
translation is "They are in my behind."
Yeah.
It's Excellent. It's so good. All right,
Now-
so now we've got another one for you, listeners.
Starring as Anakin Skywalker is Mike Calhoun. Starring as Padme Amidala is me, Tyler Bucks. And we are doing the scene where Padme, well, actually, let's leave it a secret and see if people can tell what's going on.
Let's see if you at home can figure out.
See how long it takes for you to understand what's happening.
Little mood music. All right, here we go. Anakin runs to Padme's arms and they embrace.
Oh, Gold,
Dear, how are you?
here of you is killed?
I did not die, is not. Apparently, we will separate the lifetime similar. While hearing of the speaker were kidnapped, I thought of that I want to attend the salvation activity.
Etc. Here not line.
I had enough of these politicsesses. I think only of to get married with you.
Do not say these.
Are you okay? You is shivering. How?
Waiting for happy even condescends to come. Dear, I was pregnant.
This is really too stick.
We should how do.
I no longer worried the other thing now. Good. This is a happy time. The most happy time of inside of whole life.
Yes!
Oh, man.
Beautiful.
That one was
Fantastic.
actually even more like clear as clear as it could be, but holy crap.
My favorite was waiting for the happy even condescends to come. Dear, I was pregnant.
That's actually a scene between Luke and Yoda.
That's on Dagobah.
Yeah, that's what Dagobah.
I loved when I was transcribing this, I realized that Padme speaks a line that should not have. She doesn't have a line, but in the dubbing she
yes.
says etc. Here not line. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Oh,
so
man. Whew, I have to
I-
come down from that high a little bit.
right. Okay. So the thing that I read earlier, the Fourth Gathers, is from people attempting to do the other films. They're trying to find bad dubs, or they're not trying to find them. They're trying to get them translated and then redubbed.
I see.
And I don't know if they're going to succeed. I feel like this is kind of, it's not necessarily a one-trick pony, but so much work had to have gone into
yeah.
dubbing the entire movie of Revenge of the Sith
Yeah.
with the incorrect lines.
I don't think we've stated that there is a complete dubbing
Yes.
of the entire Revenge of the Sith in this broken
broken English. Yeah.
English.
It's
but we
glorious.
may do this again if there's other dubs.
We've
that
got
because
to.
it's hilarious.
This is too much fun.
All right, so that's where we'll move over to
Yeah, let's see these posters.
to the posters. I say we go from the bottom up.
Okay.
So posters are interesting when it comes to movies because it's one of the biggest things that drives people to go see it. It used to be the biggest thing. Posters used to drive people to see the movies, and that was about it because there was, radio and TV wasn't that widespread, and you would just go by the movie theater and be like, oh, look at that.
Trailers, I don't know how trailers worked. I memean, before the 70s, I have no clue. I have on TV, or would they only be before movies? No clue.
I don't know.
So what we're going to do is we're going to describe some of these posters. And like we said, they'll be on our social medias in order for you to see them.
And on YouTube, so you better be watching us on YouTube.
Yeah, watch us on YouTube and you can see me do this.
Oh,
So,
Whoa.
yeah,
actually frightened me for
just
a moment.
just a little bit of something. All right, so the first one, it's for Star Wars, of course. Yuri Buxer and Alexander Chetsnev. This is very interesting. It looks like a jaguar with lasers, lightsabers sprouting out of its head, and then about like first grader level drawings around the head. of
Like
just
framing
random
it.
things.
I like at the top. There's just a bunch of Illuminati eyeballs.
Seriously. Yeah.
And around it, they're kind of alien-ish. But
Yeah.
one guy is clearly just wearing headphones.
Yeah. And a couple of the guys have like bugged out eyes.
If anyone told you what this was for, what would you say? Certainly not Star Wars.
No.
I would say it's a children's book.
I would be like, oh, I don't know.
like the Jungle Book, maybe even
Yeah, in space.
Cyberpunk.
Zathura. It's Zathura.
It's a thorough.
if somebody showed me this, like, hey, what do you think this is? And I didn't know it was from the past, I might say the Black Panther.
Right.
Because
like-
it's so obviously a panther that they turned what's supposed to be Darth Vader into. And you see Darth Vader's eyes, like actual eyeballs.
yeah, and they're like, but the fact that he has a panther mouth,
Right.
He's got teeth and like a cat split lip.
But I will say,
So interesting.
the different colored lightsabers,
oh yeah, I mean that's unique.
purple, green, yellow, they kind of guessed that was coming.
Yeah, I mean, there's none of those colors are too out of the ordinary. It looks like there's some maybe light pink ones, but these are actually all lightsaber colors that eventually appear.
Yeah.
has this man's hair.
Yeah, poking out of this as spikes, kind of like from their helmet. Its helmet.
So I work in a Russian company, and my sister-in-law is actually Russian. So I talked to her yesterday about pretty much all of these, and she gave me some insight as to Soviet Russian art.
Okay.
And was saying that the next couple and this one, they're pretty run-of-the-mill Soviet Russian art. They were very abstract, very almost looked like collages of just a bunch of images slapped on each other. And we'll get to that in a second, but it's actually pronounced Zvezdny Voyony, which is War of the Stars. So that's what
I see.
Zvezdny Voyony is, what it's known as. And
Is that what it was called in the 70s or when it was officially released in the 90s?
I'm not completely sure. That's just the translation of what it is,
Gotcha.
of what Star Wars is Vetsy Vioni. But as we talked about in the yearly news roundup, the posters kind of touted it as a space western or galactic western, and that was kind of in a way to get people in Russia to see it and not necessarily people to know that it's American, I would say.
Gotcha.
Because Soviet Russia, if they were shown the classic poster that we all know with Luke holding his lightsaber and all that, that's not what they saw back then. They saw abstract, weird art, and that's what drove them to go see things. So if they were to see the Star Wars poster that we all know, they would have been like, what the heck is this? You know, it wouldn't have been
It's so odd
right.
to step into that.
But all
frame of mind.
their propaganda posters and all those types of things, they were all kind of done like this, very weird, abstract, those types of things. So this apparently, I didn't even tell my sister-in-law what it was when I pulled it up first, and she was like, "Oh, that looks like Soviet art,"
Wow.
just because that's what it looked like.
I've seen a lot of the other artists that weren't from Russia, but would have been influenced by Russian propaganda, like Hungarian and artists and stuff, and Polish artists in this collection, kind of draw from it.
Yeah.
And I noticed that at the beginning when we were looking these up.
The next one, we have a purple tube man in
This
space.
looks like if anyone's played Majora's Mask. This kind of reminds me of like what promotional images for Majora's Mask would have looked like back in the day.
There is one thing that they kept from the original poster in that. If you look closely at the head in the middle, there's a bunch of dots flying down, and in the original poster, they have all of those.
the TIE fighters.
X-wings.
Ah,
Yeah.
going up like
Yeah,
that.
the X-wings are going
So
down.
they kept that element in there, which is kind of cool.
But yeah, Majora's Mask is correct. The color palette and just how it kind of looks reminded me of like a textbook from the 90s. I don't know if you
Yes.
guys have ever like
Science.
It would just say math.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Various different
Because
pieces
it's like
of art.
purple and green and blue and then lines flying all over the place. That's what it was in the 90s. They just wanted to throw shapes.
Now that I'm looking at this, I'm trying to more precisely connect images, and maybe the green character could be Yoda. He's got the pointed ears. He is green, but I don't think Yoda wasn't in the first movie. So where is this? I don't know.
Yeah, it looks like a
It's tough
cover
to-
of a horror
Or a
book
Pink
or
Floyd
something.
album.
Yeah. The next one from Russia. This is both of these, or all three of these, are from the same people.
This one's one of my favorites.
Yuri
actually.
Boxer and Alexander Chesnev. They did these posters, and this next one is just straight up Western, literally in space.
Mm-hmm.
It's a cowboy on a horse with a gun.
He's
in
holding
space.
reins. The gun has a hammer, like a revolver, and
Yep.
then it's got like a clip, like a German pistol.
Well, the clip is like a skyscraper
Yeah.
flipped upside
Yeah,
down.
yeah. And actually, all these pieces are on his like. There's some boards,
soundboards.
on his chest.
There's some-
kind of resembling Darth Vader's unit on his chest.
Control panels of things.
It's really bizarre, but it's actually kind of beautiful.
Yeah, I like it. The only issue I have with it is it's not Star Wars at all.
No, not at
There's
all.
nothing about it that is Star Wars.
It's just set behind a backdrop of stars.
But yeah, it's basically just a cowboy that's been. It looks like someone cut out like newspaper
Yes.
clippings basically and slapped it on a space background.
Yeah, doesn't look great.
I like it.
See-
But
It's
you're
good
right, it
art.
doesn't-
look like Star Wars.
no, not at all.
I'll put it out there that I would love any of these posters to be hanging in my house.
That's a fair point.
Yeah.
And some of them, as I was reading, are worth tons of money.
Yeah. So the next one from Tibor Halenyi from Hungary.
Wow, that is cool.
Yeah, this is like this is
one-
like a fantasy medieval times book.
Yeah. I think the one we're looking at in particular is he did all three. This artist,
yeah.
he did Star Wars, he did Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi, and this is for Return of the Jedi. You can see the speeder.
Yeah.
This one makes a little bit more sense in that it's got more Star Wars imagery.
Oh, yeah.
It's got the big looming Darth Vader helmet.
It's got the new Death Star
Yeah.
in one of the eyes. It has a
Yep.
Star Destroyer flying towards Darth Vader's mouth.
Mm-hmm.
It has a Lambda class shuttle flying away in the right corner.
Mm-hmm. And then it's got the Star Wars staple, the Green Dragon.
Yeah, the green dragon holding a
the
spear.
Green Dragon of Star Wars.
Yeah, and he has a crown. Looks like so. The green
And huge
king,
tusks.
He's also got the instead of the twin suns, he's got three over in the corner there.
I see that.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
a
yeah.
small detail. I like that.
But yeah, so
This one's gorgeous.
This one looks really, really good until that left corner, and even it doesn't even look in place,
no.
even if it was in the movie.
Right. He could have that could have just not been there, and it would have been revealing a little bit more of the helmet, and
Yeah.
it would have been fine.
Yeah.
But hey, as we'll see
In, a
in
little
another
bit.
one of his posters, that green dragon just belongs there.
This one from Poland, Witold Dybowski. I actually really like
Me
that.
too. I wrote down that I love it.
That
It's
is
beautiful.
pretty sweet.
It's just a painting, and it's a gorgeous painting. It's okay. So for the listener, we're looking at Darth Vader's helmet. Some accents are painted red instead of black, but it's exploding. It kind of reminds me of the scene where Luke goes to Dagobah, and he goes into the little cave, and he sees himself in the helmet of Darth Vader. That's kind of resembling what it is. However, this one is for Return of the Jedi and not for Empire Strikes Back.
I like that one. I actually do like that one. Empire Strikes Back from Hungary, Tibor Halenyi. This one's metal AF.
Yeah, it is super rad.
You have Imperial Walker that looks almost like a daddy long legs with like this moss covered foot stepping forward, and then Darth Vader looks crazy cool.
Yeah, he looks very menacing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he has his lightsaber out. It's all Empire. There's no rebels. It's just the Empire striking back. Everything is hard lines, like very rigid. And then shrouded by a giant red sun, which is not really in the movie, but
Looks
I mean,
cool.
it could be Bespin, maybe.
This guy, he is very good at drawing photo accurate Star Destroyers.
Yes.
Which, when I was a little kid, was one of the most impending images in the movies. They scared me because of their imagery, the big Star Destroyers. And then, of course, the Walker, like you said. And the perspective he chose of Vader holding his lightsaber, leading these presumably black stormtroopers into battle.
Right.
They are striking back. Like, it's actually this would definitely get me into the theater.
Oh yeah. Another one for Empire Strikes Back in Poland, Jacob Ero. Not much to say about this. It doesn't look at Star Wars at all. Not at all.
When I was reading about this one in particular,
Yeah.
I was reading about how, and it was supported by your sister-in-law, Russian propaganda
Yeah.
all had a similar look. And we all kind of imagine what Russian propaganda looked like. We've taken history classes. And this, I think, what they were trying to do was, the Empire. The Empire Strikes Back. I think we can make some statements here.
Yep.
And artists within the Soviet Union were like, let's show people that where we are is kind of like the Empire.
Yep.
Because they did see the movies. All of these artists, they would see the film, then they would make their art, and then it was chosen whether to be used or not. And some people were asked, "Did you see the movie? Did you actually watch the films?" And like, yes, of course, but they didn't come out and say, "I'm doing this as an expression against the Kremlin. I'm doing this as an expression." They can't. So sometimes you have to just kind of wonder.
That's how the movies were perceived, though.
Yes.
It was this evil empire that they were living underneath. That's how it kind of became a Russian, I would say, cult classic in a way.
Yeah. Okay.
Italy, Michelangelo,
This one looks really good.
Papuzza.
Papuzza.
It's a gorgeous.
Not much to say about this. It looks, like a kind of a standard one, but they all look like dolls.
Yes. They all look like.
Leia looks very Italian.
Yes, she does.
And
Flowing brown, beautiful hair.
C-3PO is giant on this poster. They really love C-3PO.
They just like gold.
This is very movie accurate.
But no, I think this poster is really cool.
Yeah, I think so too.
Another cool one.
Surprisingly absent is Han Solo,
I
the
know.
hunkiest man in the movie, but they make Luke have this very revealing He-Man-esque outfit and
his
haircut.
And his thighs are massive.
Yeah.
The next one from Hungary, Andras Falkidika?
Velvedki?
Velvediki?
This looks like a metal album, big time.
Certainly. I wish I could expand it for Johnny.
C-3PO is terrifying. Even R2-D2 is terrifying. But nothing can beat the horror that is Chewbacca with his
Oh, so
teeth and his
terrifying.
weird tongue. And then the Bantha with the sand person on top. Doesn't even look like a thing.
Everything
it
looks
just-
like it was carved out of melted bubble gum.
Yes.
Oh, the bubblegum people again.
Yeah.
Oh, blah, 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 blah.
Like Chewie, okay, so Chewie's eyeball is covered up / revealed
Yeah.
by the exhaust given off by this indescript spaceship. The Death Star is featured
At
in
an
the
angle
black
we
sky.
don't usually see.
Yeah, you're right. We don't normally get to see the Death Star like that. And then Chewie is trying to lick the Death Star because his tongue is, for some reason, is extended. I like the creative liberties that he took with the droids because they don't look anything. Well, they look a little bit.
Yeah.
But they look more sci-fi-y and
Yep.
more woo.
And then probably my favorite one, also from Hungary, also from Tibor. Man, does this one look cool. We have the Death Star blowing up. We have a lightsaber. We have the trench run going on. We have some sperm on the bottom left corner. And we have Darth Vader in the middle.
I don't know what is that.
Very,
You're right.
very
Photon
veiny,
torpedo.
very veiny hand Darth Vader has.
He does have a veiny hand.
And
Wow.
his helmet is his helmet, but also not his helmet at the very same time.
This looks like a combination of Soviet and old Chinese art.
Definitely.
Because Chinese movie posters kind of have this type of art style.
Yeah.
I can't really describe it because I'm not very well versed in different types of art styles, but that's what it reminds me of. But you're right. Out of the three that this, the Empire Strikes Back one was quite good.
Yeah.
But out of the three, this is the second most accurate to the movies, I
Yeah.
would say, as far as like what it represents going on in the movie, except for the titular character of the Green Dragon again.
What's the name of this green dragon? We need to come
That's
up with a name.
Greedo.
That's Greedo.
That's Greedo?
The ghost of Greedo is just always there.
He's got a big old sword.
With his,
You remember?
Yeah, with his curved blade.
Remember in the movie, he comes up to Han Solo and he's like, and then Han Solo just shoots him
Shoots him.
with a revolver.
Yeah. No, he's back, and his tongue is rigid, and he has a squiggly head, and he has 3 eyes, and it's
He's peeking
just-
out from behind Vader.
It's so out of place. How the heck does that come into Star Wars at all?
Also, a little bit of a spoiler alert: the Death Star blows up.
Yeah.
What? Why are you telling us that?
Yeah. And then one of my favorite details, which I didn't notice until last night, is R2D2
His
is
shoulder.
Vader's shoulder pad.
Oh, he is.
Isn't that interesting?
That is interesting.
So yeah, if anybody wants to send us anything, send us that poster. I love that poster the most.
I would love to hang that up right behind us.
Yeah.
Right behind us.
Send us that.
Well, that was some fun and villainy, guys.
Wow. I'm glad I got to go over these with you guys because I just very briefly took a look at them and was like, this is bizarre.
But I think we painted a good enough picture. But if you are listening to this and you want to see those things, check it out on Facebook, Instagram, probably Twitter. But you can see more so on the YouTube. So find us on YouTube at Chatter Squadron. You
You
can
should be
see,
watching us there already.
right? You can
ladies and
see
gents.
these posters because they have to be seen to believe, especially the Russian ones.
Yeah.
And then
They're clearly
the
bizarre.
final one, so you can see that green dragon with the teeth that his mouth can't close.
I really like. Yeah, no, he can't.
No way.
He has to have. That's why his tongue's rigid. It's dried out from his mouth being open so long.
Yeah.
Yeah, he bites things with his tongue.
Kind of like Chewbacca.
Oh yeah, Chewbacca had the tongue problem too.
Everybody's got a tongue problem, you know?
Yeah, definitely. All right, so be able to. Wow, I have no clue what I was leading to there.
Tongue
Be
pump.
sure to check out the yearly news roundup that we did 2 days ago.
And let me tell you guys something.
Oh yes.
If you want to be
Oh yeah.
the tiny king/queen
Yep.
of the tiny chair of tiny victories,
Uh-huh.
you gotta leave us that review or the new method, which is leave us a comment on one of our YouTube videos. And I know, granted, we proposed this last week and then we went on a long break, or last episode and we went on a long break, but. We're back. It's 2019. We are gearing up for Star Wars Celebration. You gotta follow us. That way we can find you at Star Wars Celebration.
Yeah.
But comment, leave us a rating, leave us a review, and we'll get you on that tiny chair of tiny victories.
Follow us so we can follow you at Star Wars Celebration. Do it. Do it. Johnny, give us a do it.
Do it.
Bye.
Bye.
We're doomed.